The moment I saw my dad's name pop up on my phone, with a voicemail and no message, my stomach dropped so hard I thought I'd puke. It was 2:14 a.m. I was still in his bed. Still wearing his hoodie. Still sore from what we did hours ago. I thought we were alone. I thought I was safe. But when I tapped play and heard my voice through the receiver, soft, breathless, begging him not to stop, I froze. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. And then, my father's voice, low, cracked, destroyed, "Is this you?" The walls of my life collapsed in a second. My hands shook so violently I dropped the phone. The room felt like it was spinning with the weight of everything I thought I'd hidden. Every secret kiss. Every lie I told to cover up weekends that I claimed were study retreats. Every filthy word I whispered into his ear, now archived, catalogued, shared. And the worst part? I trusted him. He said I was the only one. He said he loved me. He looked me in the eye and said he'd never hurt me. But he lied. And now, my dad knows everything. Before I tell you what happened next, make sure you're alone. Seriously. It started the way most mistakes do, quietly. He wasn't supposed to be anything more than a distraction. I had just broken up with Liam, my safe, boring, predictably sweet boyfriend who texted good morning and never made my heart race. I wasn't looking for better. I was looking for different. And Ryan was exactly that. Older. Confident. Dangerous, in that smooth kind of way that made your skin prickle before your brain caught up. He walked into the coffee shop on campus like he owned the air around him, ordered black coffee like it was a weapon, and didn't even glance at me until I dropped my cup trying to sneak a picture. He looked right at me, smirked, and said, "Want a better one?" That's how it started. He wasn't in school. At least not officially. He was between things, whatever that meant. He said he was working on a documentary. Something about power dynamics and emotional currency. I didn't care. I liked the way he talked. The way he saw people. The way he saw me. Not like a child. Not like someone to be protected. But like a secret he wanted to unwrap slowly. The first time we kissed was behind the gym after dark. My hands were trembling from nerves, but he held my jaw like he already knew what I tasted like. I remember whispering, "Are you sure this isn't too fast?" And he just smiled and said, "I only move as fast as you let me." It sounded like consent. It felt like freedom. But I didn't know then how good he was at twisting words. The lies were small at first. "I'm just staying with a friend right now" turned into "I don't really talk to my family," which turned into "I don't need anyone but you." I should have seen it. Should have noticed the way he dodged questions. Or how he never let me take pictures of us. "I'm private," he'd say, pulling me close. "But you're mine." The sex was addictive. That's the only word I have for it. He made me feel like I disappeared when he touched me, like all the noise in my head got swallowed up by him. We'd stay up until 4 a.m. talking about everything and nothing. He'd say things like, "You don't know how special you are," and "I wish I met you before the world fucked me up." And when he said, "Don't tell anyone about us, it's better that way," I thought it was romantic. Like a secret poem we were writing together. I didn't know he was recording. Not at first. I didn't even notice the little black square on the bookshelf. Not until months later. But the red flags didn't wave loud enough, or maybe I just ignored them. Like how he never came to campus events. Or how he hated when I looked at my phone too much. Your generation, he'd scoff, so obsessed with filters and followers. Just be here. Be real with me. So I put my phone on silent. I stopped posting. I isolated myself, and I thought that was love. Then came the night I told my dad I was sleeping over at Mia's house. Ryan had made dinner. Real food. Lit candles. Played vinyl records that hissed and crackled like something out of a memory. I told him I loved him. He didn't say it back. He just brushed my hair behind my ear and said, "Say it again." Slower. I said it again. He smiled. Somewhere, a camera was rolling. I didn't know. I swear I didn't. And even now, I still don't know why he did it. For control? For blackmail? For some twisted kind of art? He always talked about capturing authenticity. Maybe I was just another one of his projects. A naive little girl who gave him everything, body, trust, heart, and never once thought he'd use it against her. But that night, after I left, I checked my messages. My dad had texted me twice. Call me. Then, now. I ignored it. I was still in that dreamy haze. Still thinking about Ryan's hands on my hips, the way he said my name like a secret prayer. Then, just before I fell asleep, my phone buzzed again. A voicemail. And everything fell apart. I didn't sleep that night. Not after the voicemail. Not after my father's voice cracked through the silence of my room like a gunshot. There was no yelling, no threats, just something worse. Disappointment. That long, trembling pause before his voice asked, "Is this you?" I sat on the edge of my bed, still in Ryan's hoodie, shaking. I played it again. And again. I kept thinking maybe I heard it wrong. Maybe it was a prank. A nightmare. But no, it was real. My voice. Moaning. Pleading. Whispering things I wouldn't even say in daylight. And he had sent it to my father. I called Ryan. Straight to voicemail. Texted him, "What the fuck did you do?" No reply. I called again. And again. Still nothing. That's when I knew something was deeply, sickeningly wrong. The next morning, I went straight to his apartment. I banged on the door until my knuckles went raw. No answer. The hallway reeked of weed and mildew. An old woman peeked through her door and said, "He left last night. With a bag." I wanted to throw up. Back at home, my dad didn't say much. He couldn't even look at me. I tried to explain, but every word felt hollow. I didn't know he was recording. I didn't do anything wrong. He just stared at me and said, "You trusted a man like that?" That hurt more than if he'd screamed. What made it worse? Ryan didn't just send the recording to my dad. He'd sent it to two of my friends. Airdropped it to a girl in my media studies class. One of the clips had my face. Clear. In his bed. Saying his name. And by noon, it was circulating. Not on Instagram or TikTok, he was too smart for that. But in DMs, Snapchat, Discord groups. Quiet leaks that whispered louder than screams. Mia called crying. "Why would you let him record you like that?" "I didn't," I whispered. But even as I said it, I realized how weak I sounded. People stopped making eye contact. Whispers followed me. I saw my own reflection in the hallway mirror and felt like a ghost. The girl I used to be, smart, confident, funny, was gone. Replaced by a rumor. A scandal. A thing people passed around. I finally reached him 3 days later. His voice was calm. Too calm. "Why?" I demanded. "Why did you send it to my dad?" He chuckled. Like it was funny. "Because you lied to me. Said you loved me. Then you went cold. I saw your messages to Mia, telling her you were thinking of going back to Liam." I couldn't breathe. "You read my texts?" "Of course I did. You left your phone open once. I saw everything. Every doubt. Every little plan to slow things down. You invaded my privacy." He cut me off. "You think I didn't know what this was? You used me." I documented the truth. Documented. That word made my blood freeze. "You don't love me," he said softly. "You never did. You just liked the way I made you feel. Now they'll know who you really are." That call broke me. I dropped the phone and screamed until my throat burned. I tried to go to the police. But they said unless it was publicly posted or used to extort, there wasn't much they could do. Technically, the officer said, you gave consent to being in his apartment. If you didn't know about the recording, well, that's a gray area. You can try civil court. Civil court? I was 21. A full-time student. I could barely afford groceries. How was I supposed to sue someone who disappeared like smoke? Ryan blocked me everywhere. Disappeared off the map. I kept looking. 4 weeks. Checked his socials, tracked mutuals, even created a burner account to bait him. Nothing. It was like he never existed. Except for the wreckage he left behind. Then, a month later, a package arrived at my doorstep. No name. Just a USB and a note. You should have told the truth. Maybe I wouldn't have needed to. I stared at it for hours. Afraid to plug it in. Afraid to see more of myself through his lens. But I needed to know. What was on that USB shattered what little was left of me. There was no preparation for what I saw when I finally opened the USB. I waited until the house was empty, closed the curtains, locked my door, disconnected from Wi-Fi like it mattered. My hands were shaking so hard I had to hold the mouse with both. The folder was titled Proof of Her. Inside were 23 video files. Each labeled by date. Some were clips I remembered, like the night I cried in his lap after failing my chemistry midterm. Others I had no memory of. One showed me sitting on his couch, laughing at a joke he'd told, wearing just a towel. The angle was high. Hidden. Like a predator watching its prey. Then came the worst one. A compilation. He had edited it. Set it to music. My voice layered over soft piano. Clips of me smiling, kissing him, begging him to stay. Audio of me saying I loved him 3 different times. And then, near the end, he added his own voiceover. She said she loved me. But she was planning to leave. Watch closely. This is what betrayal looks like before it opens its mouth. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. Couldn't even cry. That's when I realized this wasn't about sex. Or revenge. Or even me. This was his story. His sick, curated version of events. A movie where I was the villain and he was the broken artist documenting the fallout. My whole body shook. I ripped the USB out and threw it across the room. It bounced off the wall and landed under my dresser. I couldn't even look at it. I wanted to burn it. Shatter it. Pretend it didn't exist. But it did. And so did he. That night, I couldn't sleep. Again. I kept thinking about every moment I thought was private. Every conversation. Every kiss. All of it captured without my consent. All of it archived. I thought about warning other girls. Posting something. Making noise. But the shame, it was unbearable. What if people thought I knew? What if they blamed me? Then Mia called. Her voice low. I got something too. What? A Dropbox link. Same folder. He sent it to me with the message, "You were right about her." My stomach turned inside out. He's making a documentary, she whispered. About you. About the psychology of manipulation. That's what the email said. A documentary. The next week, I found a trailer online. Hidden under a fake name. Not public yet, unlisted. But it was real. A black and white preview with my voice echoing, distorted. My face blurred, but recognizable. Labeled only as the subject. The synopsis said, a candid exploration into emotional seduction, consent, and the blurred lines between obsession and intimacy. Real footage. Real feelings. Real consequences. I wanted to scream. I wanted to crawl out of my own skin. He wasn't hiding anymore. He was elevating his abuse. Turning it into art. I reached out to every lawyer I could find. One of them agreed to meet. She was kind, sharp, and had seen shit like this before. He's smart, she said. But this isn't legal. If he uploads anything identifiable or sexually explicit without consent, it's distribution of private material. In most states, that's a felony. But there was a catch. He hadn't released it yet. And even if I got it taken down, he could leak it again. To anyone. At any time. He held the power. The narrative. The files. I cried in her office. For the first time in weeks. She handed me tissues and said, "You have to decide, do you fight this publicly, or do you protect what's left of your peace?" I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. That night, I got drunk. Alone. I watched our old texts, reread them like a script I never auditioned for. I found an old voicemail from him, saved months ago. His voice, soft, saying, "You don't get it, do you? I'm not the villain. I'm the one who stayed." That's when I realized he wanted to be seen. Not as a monster, but as a misunderstood genius. The quiet, brooding creator documenting a love gone wrong. He didn't want to break me. He wanted to make me his. In film. In memory. In shame. But if he thought I was going to disappear, fade into the credits while he rolled his version of the truth, he didn't know me at all. I didn't disappear. Not this time. Instead, I went back to that USB. Dug it out from under the dresser with shaking hands. I watched every file again, not like a victim, but like a witness gathering evidence. I cataloged timestamps. Took notes. Looked for flaws in his angles, reflections in mirrors, anything I could use to prove I didn't know he was recording. And I found something, me, mid-sentence, glancing at the bookshelf and saying, "Do you hear that buzzing?" He replied, "It's just the fridge." Except it wasn't. The fridge didn't hum. His camera did. That clip, 12 seconds, became my anchor. I reached out to a digital privacy rights organization. They paired me with an advocate who believed me immediately. No judgment. Just fierce support. "You were filmed without consent," she said. "That makes everything else criminal." We built a case. I sent the USB to a forensic lab. They pulled metadata. Verified dates. Found that files had been edited after the fact. That he'd added voiceovers, overlays, manipulated sequences. He wasn't just a liar. He was a producer. Crafting a villain out of me and a martyr out of himself. But here's what he didn't count on: I had a voice, too. I recorded my own statement. Sat in front of a camera and told the truth. Every ugly, humiliating piece of it. I talked about the manipulation. The gaslighting. The isolation. I read our texts. Played audio clips of him coaching my responses. I uploaded the video anonymously to a Survivor Network channel. I didn't use his name. Didn't have to. Anyone who knew the story would know. Within days, the community found him. Tracked down his aliases. His Vimeo page. His trailer. They flooded it with comments, tags, takedown reports. His site was removed. His accounts deactivated. And then, like karma with a spine, the production company he'd pitched to released a statement saying they were unaware of the unethical and potentially illegal nature of the source material and had terminated all contact with the filmmaker in question. He messaged me 3 weeks later from a burner account. "You destroyed me." I stared at that message for a long time. Then replied, "No. You destroyed yourself. I just stopped protecting you." And then I blocked him. There's no neat ending to a story like this. No perfect closure. People still talk. Some still whisper. Some ask, "Why didn't you see the signs?" I used to ask myself that, too. But now, I remind myself, being naive isn't a crime. Filming someone without their consent is. I transferred schools the next semester. Started over in a new city where my name didn't echo through hallways. But I didn't run away. I carried the weight with me, like armor. And sometimes, late at night, I still hear his voice in my head. Still feel that paranoia creep in when I see a blinking light in the corner of a room. But then I remember, I told the truth. Loudly. Publicly. And I didn't let him own my story. He recorded everything that happened between us. But I wrote the ending.